Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Man Cave Studios. All right, I couldn't resist it. I saw this FLIGHTLINE P-51D Mustang being released from FreeWing, or from FLIGHTLINE and Motion RC, and I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah. I said I gotta have that. So let's unbox it. Just to let you know, I have already opened it up once because you see there's all kinds of dents and dings, everything, and there's a significant dent right here. Okay, and I thought, well, so I had to go ahead and open, even though y'all are going to be seeing it. And there's a lot of damage to the outside of the box, and this is exactly why I like doing the unboxing videos, because I can show you. And I went ahead and took pictures of everything, and I opened the top of the box here. All the particulars about the plane will be in the description of the videos, all the specs, their CG, and all that stuff. But I haven't taken any of the plastic out or anything, because I wanted us to discover this all together. Get that stand up. What I was worried about, okay, you got your decal set laying on top, okay, but what I was worried about is mainly this dent right here, because it dents in on the bottom of the wing control surface. So I think we're going to be okay, but let's go ahead and change our view to the downward view like I've been doing lately. That way you can see this as I take it out of the box. That way you know what to expect when you buy yours. And no, I'm not affiliated with FreeWing or Motion RC or any of them in any way. They used to have an affiliate program, and I used to enjoy that, but they don't have it anymore. So I still buy this stuff, and I still show it and still love it. So let's change our view. Be right back. Alrighty, continuing on. All right, as you can see, everything, hopefully you got everything in frame there. All right. Of course, got the thing that goes around the manual. You already saw I took the decals out. Nice unfolded manual, which I know I shouldn't make a big deal about. Your ESC calibration guide. Okay. And let's start undoing the styrofoam. Now, this is where I'm the most concerned, is this corner. You see how that's badly dented in here? Okay. I think we're going to be okay because they take so much precaution and how they, and see, and look, there's like little wood reinforcements here, but let's take this wing out. This is where I think if I'm going to have any damage, this is where it's going to be. Okay, and mainly I'm just worried about this aileron getting bound up here. Boy, what a beautiful plane. All right. Now, I think we're going to be just fine. Now, remember, like I've said before, you see these FreeWing, see how the ball link, that's not on there all the way. That's not all there, but that's by design. You need to have it that way. That way, in case you have to adjust it, you can easily take it off, move it in or out to adjust it, and then pop it in. And then when it's all the way in, that will be completely flush there. That balling, so all over will be that way. So be aware of that with your FreeWing and FLIGHTLINE products. They do not put the ballings on all the way. All right, now this is the cover. This is for the drop bombs. I did not get the drop bombs. So what I may do is just unplug that. See, that's just a servo lead. What I may do is just unplug that, you know, or might just leave it just like they have it there. And then maybe just put me a piece of black tape over that or something, or just leave it alone. But look at the tread. The tread on the tires there. Oh, and that is your, see, if they see those, you dispose of these. Those are just the supports for shipping. Okay. Look at the tread. Tread on those tires. Oh yeah, nice. It's got nice compression suspension. There's your dummy gun lights there. I love the finish on this. Very nice light up there in the end. All right, very, very nice, very beautiful plane thus far. Okay. Then, like I said, remove these. You're not going to use these. These are just packaged. Sorry, that's the battery being done. The battery I'll be using to bind everything up with the plane. I'm going to be using a 5200 HCl pack. You already got your stars and bars on there. Very nice. Very nice finish. Everything looks... Oh, man. This is going to be one beautiful plane. Big, thick. Look how thick this wing is. Look at how thick that is. Got your quick connects and everything. Yeah, this is just what you've been getting lately. I mean, FreeWing and FlightLine have always had good quality models, but they're just getting better. They're just getting better and better and better. And they're no longer competing with the competition. They're pulling away from the competition and leading the pack. There's your bits and bobs. Looks like 2mm hex drive will put the whole plane together. Got a nice big bag or tube of the world's greatest glue, just for just from very small things. Very nice prop. Decals already on it. Okay, well, looky here. Look, see this damage here? All that cracking down in there. So this is why I like to document all this. Wood plate in there. Let's take a look at our... Got something hanging out there. What is... Okay. That was out of the bag. Somehow I don't think that's supposed to be out of the bag. Okay. Well, the bag is... I can't tell if this bag is compromised or not, but that is your rudder. I think that's your rudder push rod. Nope, that's your elevator push rod. So, anyways, we shall see. Everything's being documented and recorded right now. So, all right. Here's your vertical stabilizer, otherwise known as rudder. And let me tell you something, y'all who get on my channel, when I say horizontal stabilizer, otherwise known as elevator, and then y'all have to correct me and say, oh no, it's a stabilizer. I don't care, okay? You know, whatever makes you feel good, but I'm of the opinion I'm going to call it elevator or horizontal stabilizer. I'm going to call it vertical stabilizer or rudder. And because I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to everyone who's in this hobby. And so that's why I'll use both terms so they can relate. So just chill. All right. Yeah, this is all slotted in. Hard plastic there. Hard plastic point there. A nice slotted hinge. Nice slotted hinge. And like I said, see how that ball link is not? That will be flush. When I make sure that everything's set up right, that will be flush and you'll see more of that metal ball on the top of that. So, all right, there we go. And by the way, this is going to be a very, very simple build. All right, let me undo the other half of the coffin here. Of the, and about that whole stabilizer business, I'm not trying to be condescending or anything, but you would not believe how many people who will chime in and say, it's a stabilizer, not an elevator. Yeah, but it's still an elevator. I don't care. I'm still going to call it an elevator, and I don't care if I'm wrong. People know what I'm talking about. That's the whole point. Does people know what I'm talking about? All right, we have... Okay, what is this? Is the drop tanks. And if you're not going to use the drop tank, you can still add them. Unless they snuck that kit in there for me. You know, maybe they did. Because here's the pylons for the drop tanks and the drop tanks themselves. I'm going to assume you can just make them static and just magnetic on or off, like a lot of them are. And look, they are got the decals and everything on the drop tanks. That's cool. That is cool. Now this is if you want to drop the top of the hatch off to make it FPV, because it's that stable of a plane. Okay, let's take a look at our horizontal stabilizer, or otherwise known to the 89% of the rest of the world, the elevator. Okay. Now I would have preferred that this been 2 elevator rudders or servos, but that's okay. It's got a nice, I'm sure, a steel tiller controlling both of them through there. There again, you've got nice mechanical slotted hinges. You got this nice color on top, Aviation stripes on the bottom side, hard plastic connection points. Very nice, very, very nice. This model is going to be very easy to see. Okay, now here's the 2 actual wing spars that you actually will be using. And they're both identical. And don't forget, you want to glue on those little conical ends. That makes guiding them in through the fuselage a lot easier. That's probably in that kit. Nice big spinner. We'll take that out of the box whenever I go to build it. And yes, we're going to build it. It won't take long. All right. The main event. The main event. All right. See all these pieces of wood in here? That is great hobby grade wood. Take that out of the packing and use it. I have used it in so many other things. Just use it. It's just really good. And it's just barely glued in the styrofoam. Okay. Very, very nice. There, another packing spar. I hope that's a packing spar. Yeah, that's a packing spar. Okay. Let's get rid of this plastic here. Plastic. Yeah, that wood, that should just be glued in the foam. All right. First off, take a look at your pilot there. Check him out. Is that not cool? Connection points for your tail feathers. Tail wheel where it drops down. Nice oil cooler there. That's all hard plastic, by the way. And don't forget, I'll be saying this many times, on these pegs, on these quick connects, if you see white, you don't fly. White, no fly. Okay? You see white, no fly. It's got to be plugged in, otherwise your wing will come flying off of there and you're going to have a very, very bad day. All right, let's take a look inside of our cockpit here. Maybe. All right, and see, this is what we're talking about, that FPV. You take a razor blade and you cut along the edge there. And then you can install this. Oh, wait, no. No, this is your battery tray. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, anyways, they had this taped on here so that you can easily remove this and drop down your pilot. And I think it's one piece. Yeah, you untape this. That's meant, and then that will drop out, and your pilot all in one piece will drop out. And then you can install your FPV gear up in there. So, I love the instrumentation he's got. That is so cool. So very cool. Very, very good quality model. Of course, you had 600 and some odd dollars. Well, you know what? I was right the first time. That is the FPV tray. And this, okay, you look up in here. See that metal peg sticking out? Right here, right here? That's to remove your battery tray. Okay? What you do, you push down, and then you can slide your battery tray on out. Push down on it and slide the battery tray on out. Now, I'll be using 5006Ss. Slap it on there. I use Velcro. I know y'all use shuffler, but all my batteries already have Velcro on them. So I've already got it that way. But yeah, you put your battery on there, slide all the way forward, and then it locks in place. Has very obvious where it goes. There's a clear tray. And it just pushes down in there and locks into place. That battery tray is not coming out. And of course, we've got everything labeled here. Now, if you notice I hope I'm not yelling. If you notice on your ESC, they do have reverse function. Okay, do not use reverse function. Let me say it again. Do not use reverse function. If you go to the FreeWing site and in the instruction it says do not use the reverse function on this plane because it will loosen the prop and your prop will come off and you'll wonder, why is my plane suddenly a pile of foam in the field somewhere? But you have elevator, okay? You have your gun light, you got rudder, so that's 3, flap for 4, aileron for 5, landing gear for 6, and then of course you've got somewhere there's throttle. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so you need 7 channels to get everything out because I did not get the gyro. I'm going to use my own receiver. Okay, so I didn't want to use that gyro. Now, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be using an 8-channel receiver and to run everything, and I'll just have a free open channel. I may, because I don't know how this works, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Okay, so I'm not going to teach it, but what I'm going to try to do is if the rear wheel, the steering on the rear wheel, okay, if it's an isolated rudder, I mean, if it's isolated steering servo on that, which if there's 2 leads coming from it, there may be. If it is, then I'm going to try to make that nose wheel steering, but tail wheel steering, but with it reversed. So that, because that's the only way that would work. It would have to work in reverse in order for tail wheel. I'm just going to try it. I don't know. You know, I'll let you know if I'm successful or not. So, and it would be the opposite as far as its correction than the nose wheel. But look at how big that thing is. This is a beautiful, beautiful model. All right, let me get all the thing cleaned up, get our parts together here, and we'll start building this bad boy. Be right back. So don't go anywhere. Stay right there. All righty, we're going to start right off the bat with your tail feathers. All right, you're going to take this line here, okay. Okay, this is your rudder lead, okay. Go ahead and undo this. And this is a little pro tip here, if you'll see it. Hold it in one hand, okay. Hold the wire here with one hand. And you say, well, that jumbled up wires. Well, if you'll pull it tight, like this, see how I'm doing? Pull it tight like that. Look at it now. Okay? Remember it was all kind of crumbled up and staying that way? Well, now you don't have to worry about it. Okay. What you're going to do, turn your elevator and piece it in here, just like this. Try not to bang your elevator too much. If you look, there's 2 hard points there. And then if you look inside, there's 2 hard receiving points in there too. Okay. I'll get that where it feeds in there. You might have to kind of finagle it a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Okay. That just slots in there, okay? Now, you're going to take one. Now, I don't remember the size of these screws, but it's the only screws in the kit. Okay, the little 2mm hex drive, I'm sure it'll tell you in the instructions. But, take one of those, hole right there, okay? Has a very obvious bottom and out point, and that sandwiches all of that together. Okay, now change our positions here. Alrighty, got the plane up on my plane stand, and I already had this earth stand before they started recommending an earth stand, just so you know. All right, see this channel here? Okay, this is a very obvious. Yeah, there's just, that opens up into here. Okay, so you don't even need one of them go get 'em wires. Okay, you're going to take your model, just take your servo wire. Yeah, and just let it, actually, you know what? Because the way I've got it sitting there, let me see if I can. Oh, I can grab a hold of it. You got enough room in there to get your hand up in there. You see? There you go. Now, you look there, there's a channel there. Channel right there. This is going to fit down in there like that. Okay? I mean, it's very obvious. Okay? It's going to line up on that channel right up in there. You'll see it when you've got it in your hand. It's obvious. And the whole thing is just going to set down in there nice and pretty. Okay? All your connections are from the underside. So you've already got your rudder wire pulled through. This will all tighten up once we start putting the screws. Once we start giving it the screws. Okay? Actually, that's going to, I let that hang off of there. Let's back you up just a little bit so you can see where I'm at and what I'm doing. Okay? We're going to be screwing here and here. And then I guess somewhere on top, I guess. Well, hold on. No. Hope I didn't miss a step. No, right there. Okay. Right there. So we'll get that one done first. Yeah, that one will let go. And then on either side over here. Okay, and this will anchor. Sorry if my head was in your way there. That way you can see what I'm doing. Nice and tight. And it looks like you just get one extra screw, which is very common. Notice how I got my hand on the underside of it, support it. All right. And that pulled everything nice and tight. Pulled everything nice and tight. All right, now, while we're here, let's go ahead, grab my stuff here, okay? You're gonna grab your two wing spars, okay? You got these conical ends. Go ahead and open them up. You're gonna need 4 of them, you get one extra. You get one extra screw and one extra conical end. And I don't have the glue opened. That's okay, we can do that. And all you're gonna do, and the nice thing about this glue, has a little pointy part in there that just pierces that and opens your glue. Okay? Just take a little bit of dab of this glue and put it on these conical ends. Just a little on there. And then just fit that on the end of your wing spar. Or it looks like that. Not like that, but like that. Okay? So get a little more. You're going to do that to all 4 sides. Okay? Just a little dab will do. Just a little dab will do you. Make sure you get plenty on your fingers because that's law. Anytime you're using glue and putting these models together, you must get glue all over your fingers. It's just part of the experience. Just go ahead and embrace it. I don't make these rules. Okay? It's just the way it is. Okay? And you're going to get glue all over your fingers. It's just the law of putting these planes together. So when you get done, you've got conical ends on both sides. Now, make sure that's dry before you start shoving that in your plane. Okay? Go ahead. Put that back on there. Okay? Now, take your wing spar. Shove it through. These are both identical wing spars, same length and everything. So it doesn't matter front or back or anything like that. Okay. Now we're going to grab our wingy dingies. Okay. Make sure you got that glue off your fingers, because then you'll pull the paint right off your model. Line up with your two wing spars. Make sure these are out where you see white. This is where you want to see white. Okay. Go ahead and line your wing spar up in there like this, just like that. Pick up on your door a little bit. And then just, what I suggest, put the front one in first, and then use your body to get that one to pressure in, just like that. Just kind of to pivot point. Okay. Grab your other wing. I mean, yes, and maybe the angle of the video is not showing it real well, but it's obvious what you're doing. You can have confidence that it's not hard at all. Okay, when you're coming down, pull up on your door there just a little bit, on your servo door. Get the front one seated. Okay, push in, use your leverage, push in a little bit to get that bottom one seated. Now those are both in. Okay. Those are both in, and that wing is on there. Okay, it is not coming off. Okay. Now, let's put our model back upside down again. Okay, because now we're going to address our drop tank issue. Okay. Now, remember in the kit, you got this right here, okay? I am sure that these are probably magnetic drop tanks, so I'm not entirely sure. But these have that railing system on them. If I can get it open without breaking anything. I am making a mess here, just to add to the mess in the man cave. All right. See how those are on there? Okay. Now I don't know. I'm going to assume. Well, I'll have to do a little research on that. But more than likely, those just slide on. Okay. You probably attach your drop tanks to the, yeah, that's what it is. Okay. All right. Here's what you do. All right. This longer tapered end goes to the rear of the plane, and the shorter end goes to the front. So I've got that one on the right. So what you do is you glue your tanks. Got to get to the tanks. You glue the tanks on these things, unless you're going to be dropping them. You glue them on there, and then you just slide them on like you do any other static ordnance. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Yeah, I'm losing man cave here. All right. So anytime you're going to glue two parts together, because this is painted, you're going to want to rough that up. So take some nice dull scissors. Okay, I'm going to rough that surface up there, because I'm not going to be dropping these tanks. But you know what? I may want to do that. So then that means that I will have to, you know what? We're going to leave the tanks off, because if I want to go back later, do you see how those go together? That just glues in there, and that will slot in. If I decide later I want to be able to drop my tanks, then I have to use the ones that have like a magnetic release or something. So I'm not going to do that. But if you wanted to put these on as static display, you would take this, rough both surfaces up, glue that in there, and that would just slide right in there. It would look like this. That's what it would look like when all's said and done. That's how it would look. Okay, I'm not going to be using that, because I may want to go back and use these and drop bombs. So I don't want to commit to that. So we're not going to do that. Okay, so since we got the thing upside down, and we're not doing the drop, make sure, okay, we do have one antenna. You have two peripheral antennas you're going to be putting in. One does go on the underside of the wing, and it goes either here or there. Okay, there's a hole there. There's a hole right there. Okay, this is an antenna, and it just pressure fits in. Just pressure fits in, just like that. Okay, let's turn the model over. Okay, woo! This is not what you call a small model by any stretch of the imagination. And then you have the other static display right back here. Okay, it has a hard plastic, so it just pressure fits in. Okay, let's go ahead and put all that away. Now, something I want to show you, okay, because you're going to need to have this step. Remember that rudder servo lead that we had hanging out here? If you look on the back of the control box, okay, there's elevator and then there's rudder, okay? They have a very obvious 2 slots of rudder open for you to put this in here. Okay, so you're going to take, and the yellow or the signal is going towards the rear of the plane, plug it into either one of those rudder openings there. I mean, you can't mess it up. It's right there. It's very obvious. Okay, the yellow goes towards the rear of the plane. All right, that plugs in my rudder. Gear doors. I'm going to guess, then I guess the rudder must be tied to the physical rudder itself, the steering rudder, because I don't see a bunch of leads for that. So I won't be doing the rear steering gyro type thing. Okay, let's be using 6 channel or 7 channels. All right, let's get our prop put together. Okay, very simple model. Okay, and the decals, I'll put them on off camera. They're just water slide decals. I'll show you afterwards. And like I said, you're going to have one of them screws left over. Okay, and you know me, I've definitely got some screws loose that have nothing to do with the plane. Anyways, now for this, you're going to need, I believe, a 2.5. I've watched the build video that Wesley puts out like 500 times, and I think it's a 2.5 head. All right, lay your parts out. Everything you need is here. Okay, let's take a look at that. Yes, 2.5 head. So let me grab a 2.5. All right, you're going to need a 2.5. Okay, 2.5. Get your little metal tray here. Get your screws. Now you got two baggies there, okay? Okay, that single screw is for the front. It's going to be in a little package by itself. Okay, that one's for to hold the front of that spinner on. So that's a shorter one, so it's obvious. Put that off to the side, and then of course we got the prop nut there. Okay, put that right there. We're only going to be dealing with these screws here. 2.5 for all of them. I'm pretty sure 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. All right, let's get our prop out here. Our props. Okay. Give prompts to the prop. Lay your back plate down. Okay. And start laying down your screws, or start laying down your props. Only going to fit one way. You cannot screw this up. Trust me, if anybody could screw it up, it would be me. And I'm not going to screw it up, so you definitely have a much better chance of not screwing it up. Okay, take your plate. Just like that. And all this is going into metal receiving points. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 2.5 and I'm going to do my 3 inner ones, or the 4 inner ones first. Okay. Maybe. Just get them seated. I'm not going to tighten them down, just enough to get them on there. Because I want to tighten them down in a sequence. Or that way nothing will move around, see. It's a big honking prop. And then I'll show you how you can balance this kind of a prop like this. You can do it. The principle is the same, but you got to get the whole prop put together first. Down nice and snug, not tight, just on there. Okay. I don't suggest using power tools for this kind of stuff. Not for these smaller parts. Go ahead and just take the time. You're not like this is not like a 10-inch screw, okay? All right, now those are snug, and I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to tighten. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Okay, now I'm going to take the other 4. And I'm going to remember, you're going metal into metal, so don't be afraid to anchor that down. Tighten, just nice and snug. These are very tight screws. Nice and snug. When I say snug, I'm not talking about tight. I'm talking just down there level, basically. Okay. All right. And the last one. Okay. Now. Whoop, don't drop your prop. Now I'm going to go in here. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. Seeing for them screws coming through the side there. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. Okay. Okay. And I'm looking to make sure it looks like all the ends of the screws are evenly coming through. Kind of looking for like a little conical dip shape. Maybe that one there is not quite. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of be hard for you to see. You see the end of the screws? I'm making sure they're all kind of even. Now, very rudimentary way to make sure your prop is balanced. Okay. Just rotate it around. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a pretty heavy prop. What I'm looking for, so I have it pivoting here, is that it wants to favor one blade or the other. So put it like this. Okay, is it going to favor any one blade? I don't think so. All right, that's just a real simple way. All right, let's back you up again. Now, I'm not telling you to put the prop on in the shop. I'm just going to put it on here for demonstration purposes. You can see this has like a four-sided shape. This has a four-sided shape. Well, FBI calls that a clue. All right, and take your prop nut. Okay. And just, now if you're going to leave that on there for good, you put a tool through there and you crank that puppy down, make it nice and tight. Okay. And then you're going to put this on. Remember that last 2.5 millimeter screw we talked, that was short? Okay. Fish that through there. Where you see it come through in the end there? See it coming through? And understand, I am not leaving that on there. I'm just anchoring that down for just a little bit, just so you can see that beautiful prop there. All right, that's the basic assembly, okay, of the all-new P-51D 1600mm from FLIGHTLINE. Motion RC puts it out, and I'm going to go ahead and get the battery all put in, get her all bound up, put the other, or get the battery, get the CG worked out, get my receiver of choice plugged in, and get her all ready to go. We'll be right back with all the lights and all the beauty and everything for you to see, and I'll show you my bench rates. Okay, basically how the book says to set it up. I'll check the bench trim. That won't be necessarily how it ends up my flying rates and everything, but what my rates that I'll start out with and how I'll go from there. And I will get everything bench trim and we'll go, but we'll be right back. And it should be all lit up and pretty, so hold still. Well, hello, all right, got her all put together, got her all bound up and ready to go. Now, the only thing I modded was I gave her a clear coat of my satin finish, not the clear gloss. Okay, let me show you that product real quick. Okay, I used polyacrylic, okay, the clear satin. All right, now you can't necessarily see it, but if you get up, you can kind of tell it's on there, but just think of it as a good solid clear coat wax job for your car, just to protect the paint. All right, now I went with the free and easy livery. This is this side here, and then this is the other side. Now, all I did was I cut out the water slide to fit. Okay, I take let me show you what I do. In order to get these decals looking as good as mine come out, take a water bottle, lightly mist the area that you're going to put the, just a cheap water bottle that you're going to put on. Put your decals, cut them out, let them soak in some water for about 5 or 10 minutes, if that. And when they can start moving around on their thing, on the back of their backing, okay. And then you've already got this wet, and so then just drag the decal on in each section. And because the area is wet, you can straighten it out with your fingers, okay, and get it all nice and straight the way you want it. You know, and take your fingers, hold the decal, and push all the water out of it, and now nice and adhered. And then here's an important step: take a paper towel and just pat dry. Don't wipe dry. Pat dry, okay. And then here's my big secret. After all said and done, and I've got all oh gosh, we're flying. We're going everywhere. Okay. Like I say, here on the Fat Guy Flies RC, we're not what you call spit and polish. Okay. When you're all said and done, you can use a hair dryer, or I've got this heat gun, put on my lowest settings, and at a distance, I just kiss the decals, okay? Just kiss the decals like this. And if it's too hot for your hand, then it's too hot for the decal, okay? Then just kiss the decal, and what that does, that number one, dries out any water that's between the decal and the surface of the foam, and then it also reactivates that glue that's in the decal and really just adheres. I mean, it just bonds it so solid to the thing, and then to the foam, and just looks so good. All right, so then I just follow those steps all the way around. Spray, mist, pull, put the decal on, spray, mist, put the decal on, pat dry, don't wipe dry. And then went back with my heat gun and just kind of kiss the area. The moment you see any gatoring or the decal starting to bubble, you stop. You're too close. Okay, just know. Remember, if it's too hot for your hand, it's too hot for the decal. All right, so now enough about that. To show you where I put my battery. like I said, I put a clear satin finish. I'll put my battery here. I've got an 8-channel Spectrum receiver up there with the antennas going 90 degrees from each other. And I was able, my channel 7 is my guns, and my channel 8 is my tail steering. Just like you do your nose steering, well, I was able to figure out how to do the tail steering, okay? And all that is, you've got your 2 leads coming back from your tail wheel. Okay, one controls the servo for the steering, one controls the gear for the tail gear to go up and down. Once you identify that, you identify the one that controls the steering, and then plug that into the open channel that you have on your Spectrum receiver, and that can be your nose wheel gyro, and that can be your tail wheel gyro. The only difference is with a nose wheel gyro, okay, outside force, bad terrain, or whatever, push the front of the plane this way, you want the wheel to turn into the force, okay? In other words, push the nose back towards it. Well, the tail wheel is pretty much the same way. If I've got side force hitting it here, pushing its tail this way, I want the nose wheel to move to counteract and push it back this way, okay? So, let me show you that. Okay, look at that tail wheel. Watch the tail wheel. See, if I push it this way, well, you can't really, but you just have to trust me. It pushes the tail the opposite direction towards the force. In other words, like I said, if the tail's getting pushed this way, it's turning the tail towards the force. And so this way, if I want the tail to go this way, then the front of this wheel should be going this way. If the outside force is this way, and I want my tail to go into the wind, in other words, to counteract that outside force making my steering weird, then I want the front of that wheel to go that way, as if it would turn the tail that way. And that's exactly what it is. Okay. See, if I push it this way, then it pushes. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about rates and AS3X and all that. Now, I've got the AS3X settings, gyro settings at the basic AS3X Plus settings, and that's where I'm going to start at. And then from there, we'll go back. I'm just going to tell them to you because you don't really see it. But in forward programming, the gyro settings for now, okay, my AS3X settings, the gains are going to be at the stock 40, 50, and 60. And that's going to be my limits right now. Now, I may change that based upon flying. And then when I get I'm flying around, I'm going to start there at those, that's the limits. And I'm going to start there. And then if I find where I like the way she's flying, then I'll land, I'll capture the gains, and that will be my new limit. So it'll be somewhere in there. So that's how I do that. Okay, my priorities are all going to be 140 for now. I may change that. Don't have anything to do with heading. Stop lock is at the regular 35, 35, and 35. I'm roll pitching y'all. Nothing release rate. Like I said, I have this all set at the basic AS3X Plus settings that come stock. And I may change that after I fly it. That way no, I'm just going with the way it starts. Now, the nose wheel, however, I'm leaving this alone. And the steering gains are 50% window and a 50% gain. And it is a 180 priority, okay? Now, understand, I do not have the nose wheel gyro attached to the adjustable gain knob because I want my gain set on my tail wheel, okay? Now, let's talk about the actual rates itself. Actual flying rates. Now, this is exactly by the book. And interesting enough, the elevator only has one rate. They recommend only high only, okay? They recommend high only, 100% gains only. trying to turn this big beast in here. Okay, this is not a small plane. Not at all. Not by any stretch of the imagination. All right, this is by the book now. Okay. Let me get this opened up the right page because I want to share with you the millimeters also. That way you Spectrum guys and also you regular guys that use millimeters, you both get it. It's right down the book. Of course, I got to get, like I say, we're not real spit and polish here in Fat Guy. We just run with it. We do as we do. And I was going the wrong way. All right, I'll get to it in a second. All right. Rates. Okay, we're ready. Now, I'm just holding it so you can see the control surfaces. High rates, aileron, are 100% pros, and they recommend 30% expo. Low rate is 80% on the ailerons with 30% expo. Now, I split the difference and gave a mid rate of 90 with 30% expo. Okay. Elevator, 30% expo. No matter what, one rate, 100%. 100%. That's all they recommend. They say 100%. That's all they want. 30% expo. One rate on the elevator because their high rate in the book says 100%. Low rate's 100%. So I just left it one rate, 30% expo. All right, rudder. Get to the rudder here. High rate, 100%. 30% expo. Low rate, 80%. 30% expo. And of course, I split the difference with a mid rate of 90% with 30% expo. All right, now, flap settings are by the book. All right, now let me share it. Let me back up a step. Those rates I was talking about, I told you the 30, 100%, 30% and all that. The high with millimeters on aileron are 35 millimeters either way. Low, 28 millimeters either way. Elevator, 14 millimeters either way. High, low, no matter what. You only have one rate, 14 millimeters high or low. I mean up or down. And then rudder, high rate was 51 millimeters back or forth. And then low rate was 43 millimeters back or forth. So that's the flying rates in millimeters. Okay, now my flap settings, this is by the book and I measured it. Flaps up, no mix, 100%. Okay, that's what that looks like. Takeoff flaps in Spectrum are 25% down with a 5% up elevator. Landing, negative 50% with a 15% up elevator. Okay, now to give you those ratings in millimeters, takeoff flaps were 21 millimeters. Landing, 39 millimeters. Okay, now a setup thing you got to do is on the elevator. Let's see if I can show you without wrecking the model here. Okay, on the elevator, I want to move you, so hold still. Okay, on the elevator. You see up there? You want to mechanically put in 1 millimeter of down elevator trim. Okay, I think maybe my gyro's got it. But it's 1 millimeter down. Okay. I don't have safe on, do I? See, there's safe on. Okay, all right, so 1 millimeter down. You can maybe see a little better. 1 millimeter down of mechanical throws on the elevator. Okay, and then that's your trim, 1 millimeter down from the top there. Okay, now, okay, I know I say okay a lot. All right. let's go over some of the fun stuff. On my momentary switch.
Guns firing. Guns firing.
Guns firing. I just hold it down to fire and release it to let go. All right. The gear, everything works on the gear. Everything works like the doors and everything. Oh gosh. This is not a light model. Got that beautiful landing light there. Right here. Okay. Now, let me hold her up. Watch that tail wheel. Hold this gear. That's so cool. There you go. They lock into place. That light comes on. And I'm just going to leave those the drop tank wires just tucked in there like they had them. All right. See, I'm having to maneuver everything around in here. All right. Now, let's do something fun. Turn some of these lights out and you can get a better look at these. Just show you how bright this is.
Guns firing. Guns firing.
Alrighty. Well, there you go. That pretty well wraps that up. Turn the light back on here. But big, beautiful plane. I highly, I went right down the book. Just go by the book. Everything's explained nice and easy. Put that battery in almost all the way. I don't know if I showed you the battery hatch though. You need to unplug it first, obviously. Okay, and then when you press down on that pin, pull up on your tray, and your tray will slide out. And that right there, as you can see, is the best spot. If I had a 5,000, even 5,000, I'll go even with this opening. With a 5200, I'm back just a hair. Okay, and that's where she CGs really well. Alrighty, I'm going to take a few glamour shots on my very messy table here and add that to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I'll help you set yours up. Just if you don't remember anything, it's kind of a hard connection. That's why it's better to, oh gosh, hook it up with the tray back a little bit. In fact, let me do that. Pull up on the tray, pull back, press in. Now listen to click in. Here, click in. It's in there. It ain't going anywhere. But yeah, I've got safe, AS3X, and all that programmed in, and I'll finalize those settings after the maiden because then I'll know how she flies. So, alrighty, take some glamour shots. We'll be glamour shots, and hopefully get out the field here very soon if I have some time. And God bless y'all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and then big old warbirds from Flightline and Motion RC. Bye-bye.